Hello and welcome to Stratazine. I'm Stephen Best, and joining me today is Alex Bigelow, Tylor Fogel, Jordan Lance, Jake Black, and Reese Jones. And today we are going to talk about how to appropriately and ethically incorporate artificial intelligence into content creation and everyday use. And Jake, you're gonna head us off with what you've been researching, which is authenticity and the process of creating AI. So let us know what you found out.
Of course, yeah, thank you. So, like you said, for my section, I wanted to look at something that almost every creator is talking about right now, and that's whether AI is feeling more authentic or if it's just slowly killing authenticity altogether.
Hey, I'm Jake, and today we're talking about the use of AI and if the death of authenticity and connection with an audience is imminent because of its use. According to Cornell University, AI can handle behind-the-scenes tasks like editing, captions, and scheduling. This frees creators to focus more on showing their real, human selves on camera while still utilizing the benefits of AI. Research from ScienceDirect shows that a drop in authenticity and connection happens when AI fully replaces human work. But when AI just assists, creators can still keep their voice and personality in their content. ACM Interactions found that being transparent about AI use actually increases trust and makes content feel more authentic. Honesty about AI helps creators connect with their audience by building trust and integrity. Short-form platforms are growing fast. A study from archive.org shows that AI can quickly turn long videos into TikTok, Reels, or short clips. This saves time and lets creators keep producing long-form content without feeling stretched thin. But there's a question. Does this fast AI-generated short-form content keep the same authenticity? The answer depends on how much creators keep their human touch and are transparent about the process. In short, AI can help creators be more efficient and consistent, but authenticity still matters. Using AI responsibly, keeping your human voice, and being transparent are key to staying real on social media. These are my sources. Thank you.
Yeah, so as my video mentions, there's this phenomenon going on with AI and the use of content creation, and they call it the death of authenticity. And that's just because AI is being used in so many more processes than it was just a decade ago. And there's a study that stood out to me from ScienceDirect that shows that when researchers found that when AI takes over too much of the creative process, just like I mentioned, so like editing, whatever it is, captions, scripting, or whatever it may be, really AI heavy editing, polished visuals, or whatever it may be, audiences start to feel like the content is less authentic. And that's why it's important, like my video mentioned, that creators are open to the use of AI as it creates that honesty factor when they mention that. And so I just wanted to pose a question to the group, and I was just wondering if you guys feel that way, that when content that looks too AI polished or too heavy on it, when content creators use AI too heavy, does it affect your trust at all to that creator? You guys have any thoughts?
I think so. I'm currently, going through the realm on social media where it's like, is the video I'm currently watching AI generated, or is it actually something that's true and happening? And, it's starting to affect people in more ways than one with scamming and stuff. I've noticed a lot of scammers use it to their advantage. And so it's one of those things where it's like, I'm starting to have less trust in the media because it's harder to tell what AI is, what's AI and what's not AI, because it's grown so much and it's becoming so realistic.
To go off of that, with movies and stuff, there's all these fans that are huge into these different movies, and fans used to produce their own trailers for these, and now with AI, those fan-made trailers look authentic to what a trailer would look like for a new movie, which would make people excited, and it causes all sorts of debate online. And for me, that is not really geared towards like Hollywood or any of them, losing trust in them, but they need to try to figure out how to not police that, but a little bit keep that under wraps, so we as benefactors of their movies can trust what we see from them versus what we see from random content creators.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also interesting. I I watched a meeting that happened in the White House a couple months ago. And then just a few hours later, I saw an AI generated video of the president, and it was the same backdrop and the same clothing, but they had edited his face so that it looked like he was saying something different than what he had actually said in this public live streamed video. And it was really interesting. I'm a sucker. I was the kid who's like, people tell me there's, green feet on the ceiling, and I'd be like, really? And so it's just, I think this shift in the content that we see that is generated so easily, it really puts a lot of responsibility on us as viewers to double check what we see and to make sure that it is credible, it is true, and to not, be a sucker and believe everything that you see that looks realistic.
Yeah, personally, I would watch a movie that features real people instead of AI generated people, because that takes out that human connection. But yeah, I don't know. If I see something like AI, I just like assume they're like the people that created it are like lazy in a way. But some of it is cool, some of it is cool to see. But I just prefer the actual human connection in it.
Yeah. And I think that's also one of the biggest arguments with the heavy use of AI today, is that people still want that human connection with content being put out. And there's another study from Cornell University that found that short form content actually pulls attention away from long form videos, which may have a negative side effect, because we know long form videos tend to produce that human connection that you mentioned. And so I think a rhetorical question we all should keep in mind is that, is short form content threatening authenticity, or is it just changing what authenticity looks like? Because regardless, we know that AI is a wonderful tool in creating that content, but we need to understand and ponder how we can keep that human connection while utilizing this wonderful tool in our content creation.
I actually really appreciated that question. It kind of made me think, our kids growing up, are they going to accept AI as the new norm, right? I mean, it's obviously not going away. It's going to get better and better and more deceptive. And so is that just going to become commonplace? That's just, oh, okay, that's AI generated. And it does kind of raise questions like what Reese mentioned, like about what our responsibility is. And so, yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks, Jake. Turning now to Alex. Alex did some research into how we can optimize our AI usage so that we can meet the unique requirements of social media platforms. So tell us what you found out.
Yeah, so with the rapid progression of AI and AI-based algorithms on social media and just the internet in general, we should just be able to get familiar with using powerful AI tools to help get our content out there for the viewers to see, so it's not drowned out by all the rest of the other content that's outperforming ours. So AI can help us in a lot of ways. It can help us brainstorm content ideas. It can help us create our content, and as we were talking about before, and finding out the analytics and demographics of who actually views your content. And regarding the social media algorithms, they all operate with different priorities from each other. So that's where the kind of bias comes in with those social media algorithms, like X, or I guess Twitter, prioritizing your feed through other tweet interactions that you've seen, and TikTok, which is the complete opposite, where it just shows you new things from new people every single time. And this can lead to bias because your algorithm is being shaped by the things that you're seeing all the time. So we could look at some ways to how we can use AI to increase viewership on biased social media algorithms. Here's how to use AI to push your content past biased algorithms. Social media feeds seem to know you better than you know yourself, and this is due to AI algorithms within the platform. Algorithms use signals to match users with relevant content, and this includes the number of likes, shares, and comments, which is engagement, relevant keywords and hashtags, consistent post timing, recency of the post, click-through rates, location, and retention. This is from sproutsocial.com. So making content that works for the algorithm. I have a quote here from sprinkler.com. 63% of US business-to-business marketers in 2023 credited AI with boosting their revenue and lead generation. And 75% of marketers are planning to use AI to enhance customer experiences on social media. So AI can help you brainstorm content ideas tailored to a persona, such as a 3-week workout starter plan for a fitness coach. Social listening. AI scans social media platforms and finds what people are saying about the brand, its competitors, industry, and can help answer questions. Predictive analytics. AI can analyze patterns in post engagement, time to post, and spikes in interest. AI can also help with trend monitoring by tracking keywords, content formats, and provides engagement alerts. And then there's chatbots for customer service, which provides FAQs, tracking orders, helps guides customers to where they need to go, and it's open 24/7. So I just had a couple questions for everyone. So everyone obviously has a bias when it comes to news and like real world events. But are social media algorithms reinforcing people's biases, or is it making them more aware of their biases and like what their thoughts really are towards things?
I think it's depending on the person. I think that some people like to live in a box and they like to see, their algorithms are specified to them and they want to stay within that box. And they don't really have any need or want to venture out and view anything else. But I do think that there are some people who see, the same type of information come in, and whether that, starts to lead to misinformation or more negativity, they may start to wonder, am I just being fed what it thinks that I want? And, at that point, then they want to start venturing out and seeing, what other people's views are. I mean, I know for me personally, if I'm watching like a TV show, reality or whatnot, everyone kind of picks sides with people. There's always a good guy and a bad guy in everybody's eyes. And so for me, my algorithm tends to, feed me the person and the content from that person that I like. And then I don't hear anything about the other person until something big happens. And, I realize I have absolutely no knowledge about how they've been acting on social media or anything. And it's kind of just interesting to see how you fit into a box. And some people, some people want to stay in that contentment and others don't.
I have a short thought. I'm leaning towards your second option, just how it's making you more aware of the content you wanna consume, because we've all had it happen. We have said something or spoken something into existence, and then a couple hours later, or however long it may be, there it is on our feeds, and we're like, I was just talking about that. So I think these algorithms and what you're talking about, Alex, it definitely makes me aware of the content I want to consume, because I'm like, oh, I just looked at that and now it's on my feed. So it's my short thought I had.
That could be good and bad on both sides of things, though. The good side, like you were saying, you were talking about something. I play disc golf a lot, and I was just talking with my cousin about maybe joining a team, whatever, and then next couple days later, on my Facebook page even, their algorithm, I guess, heard me or just saw me looking at disc golf stuff, and lo and behold, the team was like, hey, we want players to join our team. And so that could be a good thing. Or on the other side of things, I take a class with my wife, and just taking the class, all of a sudden I get all these stuff on sewing pop up on my TikTok. So it can be a hindrance too. The algorithms are just nutty out there.
That's a good point.
It's to me, it's kind of like what we make of it. It's like, are you going to take the blue pill or the red pill, right? What do you want to see? Like Jordan mentioned, and Jake, like, we're kind of building that box ourselves. right? We're putting ourselves into that box by choosing to ignore other things, or creating essentially our own biases, because we like to think the world is just all sunshine and rainbows. We don't want to think anything different, so we take the red pill, right, until something kind of bursts our bubble. um, and so that kind of raises questions about ethics, right? And Tyler, you've been looking into ethics quite a bit, so tell us what you've found out.
Yeah, there's quite a balance between using AI ethically in the content creator world, where you can either choose not to have it whatsoever, nothing to do with it, outside of the different programs that you post your content on. Don't have really control of that, versus using it fully, bringing authenticity to the forefront of whether that's there or not. You gotta, as a content creator, find that balance. And what I'm gonna hopefully go over today, it's a good enough explanation, we'll be able to discover that.
So, you are thinking about starting into content creation and maybe want to employ the use of AI into your work. There are some things you may want to consider first. I'm Tyler, and this is AI and how to use it ethically and as a tool. First, we got AI on how it works with ethics. Professor Michelle Ewing of Kent State, member of the Board of Ethics and Professional Standards, states, I tell my students and I expect them to learn how to ethically use AI tools. AI can be very useful. In most cases, AI learns how to function based on what it learns. It can lead to ethical issues sometimes, and if you use AI incorrectly, you can find yourself in some copyright problems. Let's look at how AI deals with images. We will be using the Gemini program to do this. Here is a picture I had a friend take of me while playing some disc golf. Now I told Gemini to remake my picture and keep it as real as possible. It made the image look cleaner, but on a closer look, it edited out the people in the background at the knees amongst some other flaws, if you look deep enough. I went ahead and told it to have fun with it, and it created this picture, and I landed on this final picture. AI can be a blast to use, but just be sure to be mindful of how things can cause ethical waves. Now, using AI, you need to think of it as a tool and not a crutch. Jennifer Denny from Elevated Marketing Solutions talks about how powerful a tool AI can be when prompted correctly and with detail. AI, like anyone and everything else, can make mistakes. John Megan and Keith Young have an article on Springer Nature Link, and they go on to talk about AI and how it can be used in education as a tool to teach kids and adults about AI and how to properly use it to avoid making those mistakes. The biggest key to take away from using AI is to not fully depend on it when creating your content. From Science Direct, Jasper David Bruns and Martin Meisner talk about generative AI and how it can make some great work, but you should not fully rely on that or other programs you run for your content. Some of the more popular ones are Gemini, Adobe Firefly, AI Writer, and ChatGTP. Here are some of the sources that I used, and they were all great reads, amongst others that I was able to find. I am Tyler, once again, and you're watching Stratazine.
Yeah, the going with some of those more popular topics, not topics, but programs out there, they're always changing on what's most popular. ChatGTP is always up in the forefront because it was amongst the first ones that people could use and put towards their work, which caused the biggest issue in the content creator world, or even in English departments with paper writing, on it pulling sources from the internet out there. And so, keeping that in mind, a question I had was on your thoughts on how we can manage the ethical use of AI in our content creation. To anybody?
Tyler, I have a quick thought. one word that comes to mind is balance. You mentioned that before you played your video. Not to make it all about me, but it makes me think about what I talked about authenticity, right? Balance and authenticity. If we can manage the use of AI while still being our authentic selves, I think it creates a good use of AI in our content creation.
And Steve, when AI started becoming more of a big thing, you're in the content creator world. You, in a couple of our meetings, you gave us some thoughts on what your take was on the AI. Can you share that with us again?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as a content creator, when AI started coming out, I felt threatened. Like, wait a minute, this is going to steal people's jobs, and this isn't right. It's all fake stuff. Like, there's no authenticity to it. There's no human element to it. So I was really worried. I think like most people out there. But I went to the National Association of Broadcasting convention in Vegas a couple years ago, and of course AI was the hot button issue for everybody. Everybody was talking about it. There were lots of workshops and keynotes and tons of things going on. You couldn't get away from it. And the more I learned about it and saw how really big companies like Adobe and Blackmagic and pretty much everybody were incorporating AI to help make things easier and more efficient for content creators, I came away thinking, actually, no, I've been thinking about this all wrong. This is actually a really, really powerful, useful tool when used properly, right? It should never be like an outright replacement, but it definitely makes things a lot easier and more efficient. One quick example I'll give is when I was watching a film editor edit just like a couple seconds of a shot. There was it was of an ATV, and there was dust that was kicked up between the ATV and the camera, and so it ruined the shot, right? And you think about the time and expense and effort required to get a crew back out there to like reshoot something, and you know that being a filmmaker too. Like, I mean, that's expensive, and sometimes that can be cost prohibitive. And sometimes they can just kill your entire scene. Like, oh man, we can't go reshoot that. We're gonna have to nix this, right? But they used AI to get rid of the dust, and it just blew my mind. I'm like, oh my word, a single editor could redo this when it would have cost a movie studio tens of thousands of dollars to go out and reshoot that. I mean, so it was just really, really mind-opening for me to see what AI could really do and how it could be beneficial. The church even employed an AI engine in family search because they recognized that it was just, hey, we just need to connect data here. And so people who have been stuck doing genealogy for years and years because it was done, suddenly now have thousands more contacts. It's just amazing, really, what AI has done.
Yeah, those are perfect examples of how using the AI as a tool rather than a crutch can help you balance that delicate line of, is it ethical or is it not? And so yeah, when it comes to ethics and using AI, you just need to know where that line is and do your best not to cross it. And if you do, make sure you correct that issue.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's all about just establishing your litmus test. You know, where's your proverbial line in the sand, right? And Reese, you've been looking into kind of more along those lines about how we can use AI ethically and specifically to brainstorm and kind of help with the idea creation process. So tell us what you found out.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I think it's really fascinating, this new tool and all of just the different opportunities that are at our fingertips with it. And I think we've all had moments when we're bouncing ideas off of somebody else, and that's really helped us to push past writer's block or to get inspired or maybe even decide between several good ideas. And I think as people have turned to AI for this kind of brainstorming, many have been concerned, like you mentioned, that they're going to cross this line of replacing their own original thoughts, or maybe they're going to not be as creative. And honestly, this is something that really worried me about AI when it first got really popular. But I think after doing some research, it's been really neat to see how there's a lot of strategies we can use as we play around with AI that can help us use it as a tool to support our own original thought and ingenuity rather than to substitute that. So let's check it out.
Hi, I'm Reese, and today I'll be discussing how we can brainstorm more efficiently with AI. So let's dive in to the do's and don'ts of using AI as a co-pilot when we're brainstorming. According to Microsoft in 2025, you do want to define clear goals, so know what you want Copilot to help with, like writing, summarizing, or analyzing data. Use specific prompts, so be clear and direct in your instructions to get the most accurate results. And you want to review and refine your outputs. Always double check Copilot's suggestions. They also have outlined some of the things you don't want to do, and the most important is don't expect human-level judgment. Copilot is great at automating and assisting, but it's not a replacement for human judgment. A year earlier, Microsoft also suggested 5 brainstorming strategies that we can use when we're trying to write prompts for AI, such as ask open-ended questions, role play, like ask AI to act as a coach or as a tutor, to make lists, to create a mind map, or to explore what-if scenarios. Additionally, sources like Emma Lottie suggest that there are different stages in brainstorming. When you understand which stage you are in, you can use AI more effectively to meet your needs, and it will be easier to discern what kind of strategy will be the most useful. You can also follow the link to her article to see a list of prompts that can help you work with AI in each brainstorming phase. So, next time you want to talk to someone about an idea, or you're stuck and need some help, consider using AI to brainstorm more effectively. Thank you.
So I just wanted to open it up to the group and hear a little bit more about your guys' experience, experimenting with AI and learning how to use it as a tool that can supplement your own brainstorming. What are strategies that have worked for you, or things that have been helpful to you guys?
I think for me, like one of the things I like to do in my spare time is I like to do a lot of free writing. And, as a writer, one of the things that I have found I'm absolutely terrible at is like character names. Like I can't come up with character names to save my life. I can usually come up with like my main 2 characters, and then I think of all these side characters, and then I'm like, I have like 50 names I have to come up with, and all I can think of is like Dave or something. And so I've been able to, have like ChatGPT or Copilot. I've been able to use that assistance to help me in the sense of, I put in the idea that I have for what I'm writing, what I want the character to inflect, as well as like the timepiece, if it's fantasy, and then it gives me all these ideas for names, and then I can kind of go through and see if anything stands out to me or if anything kind of speaks to me for the character. And so I found that that's a really helpful tool for me to kind of get past that writer's block, because, I have pages and pages filled of writing, and then I just have little parentheses of insert character's name here that I can actually start to fill now.
Going off of that, it also helps with like creating backstories. I play Dungeons and Dragons. I love it. It's fun, it's fantasy, but I have trouble coming up with a story of how they got to where the group is or how they are meeting them. And so I use ChatGPT and inserting the different prompts, like you mentioned, Reese, and it gives me like 3 or 4 paragraphs of who they are, where they came from, and I'll generally tweak it after that. But most of the time, it comes up with some pretty good ideas that I wouldn't have thought of. Of course, I always come up with a name first. I have trouble with the story, but stuff where that's where the algorithm stuff comes into play too. It will generally help out with that.
That's awesome. I I really love how versatile AI can be and how it can be applicable to so many different needs or types of brainstorming or different types of content. I had the opportunity last year to work in president's office here on campus, and it was so neat to be tasked with writing documents that I had never created before. To be able to turn to AI to ask for a template or to just help it get me started. When I was in those brainstorming phases, it was really useful. So I think more and more as we're entering the workforce and in all different industries, that this is going to be a useful skill and a tool that's going to help us in many ways. So.
As I was thinking about your segment, kind of the question came to mind when I used it for, whatever purpose. Like I use it to crunch numbers a lot and, hey, pick out the most important things out of this and that. And but was it beneficial and did it help augment my own creative thought and my own creative process? Or was it just a way for me to just save time, right? And I think it just kind of comes down to intent, right? Because if you're using it to just cut corners and kind of go down that path, then obviously that's not good, right? But if we are using it to help augment our learning and even as a teaching tool to open our minds or give us options that we haven't considered, then that's great because that augments our learning. We're not completely abandoning our own research and creative process. So that's kind of what came up for me. And for me, it just comes down to what is your intent, right? Are you using it to be good or bad, essentially? Jordan, taking us home now, looking into digital well-being and our responsibility that we have in regards to not just AI, but really all technology out there. Tell us what you've found out.
Yeah, I mean, I really like what you said about intent, and intention is really important when you deal with any form of media or technology. And digital well-being is becoming a really big part of how we interact with technology every day now, especially as AI becomes more integrated in our personal and professional lives. I've looked at how AI can actually support your well-being by reducing digital overload, helping with mental health tools, and it gives us a healthier boundary to set with our technology when we use it intentionally. Today, we're looking at digital well-being and how AI can actually support our mental health, our productivity, and our daily routines. Digital well-being is basically the impact technology has on our stress levels, attention, and overall mental health. And AI isn't just changing how we work, it's changing how we feel while we work. According to research from McKinsey & Company, AI can reduce digital overload by automating repetitive tasks. That means less mental fatigue and more time for tasks that actually matter. Simple things like automated summaries or scheduling tools can reduce cognitive load and keep your day manageable. AI is also entering the mental health space. A study published by JMIR Mental Health found that AI chatbots like Wobot helped young adults reduce anxiety and improve mood. It's not a replacement for therapy, but it shows how AI can increase access to support when people need it. But people still have concerns. Pew Research reports that many Americans worry AI might affect creativity or make human connection feel less authentic. That's why using AI responsibly matters. It should enhance our well-being, not replace real human experiences. In my segment, I'll break down how AI can support both your productivity and your mental health while keeping your digital well-being in balance. For all sources and additional information, check the show notes. For Stratazine, I'm Jordan. Yeah, so exactly what I talked about there. It's really important to use AI with intention, and I really liked how you brought that up. Using it as a tool rather than as a crutch, like you mentioned before, is very important. We live in a world today where sometimes we get so overloaded with tasks, simple ones that just seem really repetitive, and you can use AI as a tool to kind of help you take a little bit of a load off. It shouldn't replace authenticity and human connection, but it should be able to help you reduce your stress and reduce the amount of work that you need to do, but in an ethical way. And I think one of the best things too with AI is we've talked a lot about how, there's the scary parts of it of the lack of authenticity, human connection, but there's some good aspects to it as well. And I really liked the research from JMIR Mental Health, and it talks about the AI tool Wobot that helped young adults reduce anxiety and improve mood. And it was a way for people to access support without having to go to a therapist. If you're having a really bad day and you just need to vent and maybe, get something off your chest and just feel like somebody's listening, it's a really good tool to help you journal and give you some cognitive reframing. So that way you can kind of get those feelings out. And it's not something, you shouldn't take everything AI says to you for what it is. And but it's a really great tool to help with that, especially for people who don't have access to therapists or those mental health institutes. And so one of the questions I want to ask is, with the Pew research that found out that people worry about how AI will hurt authenticity and connection, do you guys feel those concerns personally or not as much?
I'll just hop in with a quick thought. Something that is interesting to me is how lifelike and human-like that sometimes AI can appear to be. And I think that while it can be a wonderful tool to help people, like you were saying, to do cognitive reframing or maybe to explain out an issue and to brainstorm solutions or things that they could try, I think we do have to be careful that we don't expect AI to ever have the same morals or judgment that we do. And I think we also need to be careful that we aren't turning to AI for the connection that we should be seeking with other people instead. So I think there are a lot of useful ways we can apply it to our well-being, but when it comes to that personal connection that we have with people, we need to be careful that we don't cross any boundaries.
A thought that I had was, I liked how you said it should be like a replacement for therapy, but it can definitely be a good tool to help research, self-help topics and places to go for help and things like that. It's interesting because on the drive up to campus today, listening to the radio, and they were talking about how people are using AI as a replacement for legal advice, which everybody should be scared to do that, right? AI does not have the professional experience that a real lawyer has and case knowledge. And I mean, we know that AI can make mistakes. I mean, it can wrongly apply law to whatever you're trying to research. And it's a really slippery slope, right? And same with like therapy, same with people getting into relationships, real relationships with AI. And so it's just, knowing our limits, knowing what's appropriate. We definitely don't want to abuse it. We need to keep our digital well-being in check, make sure that we are using it in ethical and proper ways. And it can be a wonderful way to make our lives more efficient and help us get things done. I think it's great. And a final thought to wrap up our episode is, I just thought, technology is here for the benefit and betterment of all mankind. It really is, and we believe that even as members of the church, we know that men are inspired to do great things to help bring a lot of things to pass, and this is just one of those things that is just going to help immensely. But like we've discussed, we have the responsibility to use it wisely and constructively, and not poorly and destructively. And because, as we know, technology can cause a lot of harm, so we have a responsibility to do good with it. So that's our episode today. Be sure to check out our other episodes on our other streaming platforms, and we'll catch you next time.